You may have heard of letting go of emotions or releasing emotions. This is very common language in a lot of the spiritual circles. And I find that these words, releasing and letting go, can set up some issues for people. In fact, I feel like it's very common. And I feel that the words release and let go, the mind hears that and conceptualizes this idea of it's got to get rid of the emotions, especially when the emotion is uncomfortable. You hear these, oh, just let go of the emotion or just release the emotion. The mind hears that, and then it creates this idea that, of course, I have to get rid of this emotion. I don't want to feel it. It's uncomfortable, so I want to get rid of it. So it sets up this goal of trying to get rid of the emotion. Okay, Mitch is saying I have to feel my emotions. Okay, and I've heard before that I need to release, I need to let go. And then it interprets that as, okay, so he's telling me I got to get rid of the emotion. And what I'm feeling is uncomfortable. I'm feeling an uncomfortable emotion that I don't want to feel. So let me set up this goal of trying to get rid of what's making me feel uncomfortable. So then you're rushing, you're in a hurry, you set up this goal, you can't wait to get rid of it. There's a lot of effort that you're trying to get rid of something. And it's not like that. You don't actually get rid of an emotion. What happens is the emotion, that energy, it simply relaxes. It's more of a transformation, or I think people might call it like transmutation. It's more that this emotion that feels maybe agitated, it feels tense, it feels dense, it feels rigid, it feels heavy. It's not like you get rid of it like you're taking out the trash. It's that it just simply transforms within yourself, that the tension is just relaxed. The solidness is simply dissolved. The density is simply dispersed. The heaviness becomes lightness. The contraction expands. So it's more of this transformation. You're not actually getting rid of the emotion. You're not releasing it somewhere outside of you. We use those words to release or to let go, but when we're so mind identified, body identified, it feels like, yeah, this like energy just went outside of the body. That it feels like you're carrying something and you just put it down. It has that feeling, but I find that these words, like releasing and letting go, can also set up this misunderstanding, this misinterpretation. And that's what the mind does. It misinterprets everything all the time. So I'm simply just presenting another word, another word to try, which is what I was always, I wouldn't even think about it. I guess you could say it was a thought, but more of a feeling that that whatever I was feeling, it was just melting. It was melting. And this was just happening when I'd be just kind of doing some yoga stretching. I never had like something to say is like an emotional practice or something to say, I'm going to go work on my emotions, or you know what, I got to go like, feel my feelings for the next 10 minutes. I never had that. But what I was doing was I was really in tune with the body, and I was always stretching and moving, and I was always relaxing the body. The body was always being stretched and moved in a very soft and gentle and relaxing way. So I was able to relax into these tensions. And I'd always just see them as there's something that's locked up in the body here, but I would never think of it as an emotion, because the emotion is actually a sensation plus a thought. And it shows how much someone is actually hanging out in the mental plane, lost in thoughts, when they're actually thinking about these emotions so much. When the emotions become overwhelming, when the emotions become a problem for you, it's because you're so in the mind that's what's creating this emotion. Because really the emotion is nothing other than a sensation plus a thought. When you're not in the mind, you're not thinking about those sensations. So therefore, you're not creating this idea of an emotion. When you're actually in the body, when the attention is so much in the body, there isn't an emotion. There's simply just a sensation. That sensation is no different than a sensation of hunger or stiffness or tightness. So you're experiencing a sensation, and you don't experience something that you would say is, oh, that's anger, or that's grief, or that's shame, or that's something. It doesn't appear like that. It's simply just a sensation that feels raw. So by getting into the body, you're experiencing not an emotion, you're experiencing just the raw sensation, which that's what I'm explaining is I was in the body so much, the attention was so much on the body and so much in the sensations that it would just feel like there's just a blockage here in terms of the body being stiff in like the hip flexors or the lower back or the chest. There's just something that felt closed that just wanted to open. And that's all I saw it as. I just saw it as there's just a closure in the body that just wants to open. There's just a tightness in the hips that wants to relax. There's just this rigidness that wants to become fluid. And I would just simply stretch and it would just be relaxing. You would just relax the body. And then the attention would go to let's say the hip flexors. And it would just simply be aware of that tension. And then it would be relaxing that tension. And then it would be like, okay, a little bit of that tension would relax, and then you go deeper, and then you would relax that, and then that layer of tension would relax and then go deeper, and then you'd sit with that, and then that layer of tension would relax, and then you'd go deeper and then go deeper. And as you relax, you go deeper. As you relax, you go deeper. As you relax, you go deeper. So I would just feel that area of the body and just relax into that sensation, meet that sensation with no objective of trying to get rid of it. Because when you're trying to get rid of something, that's actually a resistance. That it's actually when you're not resisting, when you're allowing. The allowing is the opposite of resisting. When you're not rejecting, to try and get rid of something is to reject. When you're not rejecting, you're actually just accepting. So you accept that sensation. You allow that sensation. And then it's just relaxing, relaxing, relaxing. That then you start noticing that there's this, in what I would always explain as like, it's melting. Another word could be dissolving. It would just melt. It would just melt that area of the body. I would just wait for that area, just stretching like whatever area, if this was the chest or if it was the lower back, and just the attention would go there and it would just sit with it and allow it to melt. The same way as if you just dropped, there's actually coffee in this today, but the same way as if you dropped an ice cube in just lukewarm water. It's the same way that you would just, and you can try this to kind of show you how patient you have to be. Just watch an ice cube melt. Just take lukewarm water, drop an ice cube in, and just be patient. Just watch it. Watch it. Watch it. Watch it melt. The same way as that same approach, that you're just patient and you're watching it, right? Don't put the cup down and walk away from it. That's the practice here, is actually just put the ice cube in and just be patient. Just watch it. Watch it melt. Just watch it melt. And that's just giving you an illustration for meeting these tensions in the body. That tension just feels like it's rigid, it's solid. It seems to be like that you're meeting something that's hard or something that's different. But in fact, that ice cube is actually made of the water, and that ice cube is actually melting in the water. So in this experience, it's that you are the water, and that ice cube is made of you, and it's simply just dissolving in you. That ice cube is melting in you, that you are the lukewarm water that's containing that ice cube. And that ice cube is actually made of you. And that ice cube is just simply melting, 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 melting. So it's not this idea that you're trying to pick up the ice cube and release it. You're not trying to pick up that ice cube and let go of it. You're not trying to get rid of the ice cube. There's nowhere for that ice cube to go. It simply just melts back into you. It's not apart from you. It's not separate from you. There's nowhere for it to go. So perhaps hearing this, you might be able to see maybe that's where some of the misunderstanding is in that word like release, or in that word letting go. That you may hear that and then maybe misinterpreting that and having another idea of, okay, that kind of means get rid of. That I got to get rid of the emotion. That I'm in a rush to get rid of it. Where it's actually the complete opposite. That actually your effort to get rid of the emotion is actually what is sustaining it. It's what's maintaining it. The more you try and get rid of it, the more it just maintains itself, right? It's try switching those words. Instead of letting go, instead of releasing, try using the words melt. Try using the words dissolve. Try using the word relax. And that's at the start, you can totally do it mentally, like verbally, where you just lay down on the ground in whatever position, put the attention on the body, feel something. So there's a little bit of exploring, what feels like I need to, what feels not relaxed? Right there in the hips, right? You're scanning, you're exploring, or in the lower back, right? Don't jump from place to place. When you stay on the lower back, stay in the lower back. When you're feeling your feelings, when you're doing this emotional work, try and pick one spot to work on. Don't hop around the body and go from lower back, then to shoulder, then to this. One of the things that I felt was very helpful that could maybe help you is when I was stretching, sometimes it would just be this one stretch for this one area of the body that would be like 15 or 20 minutes. I'm not saying that you have to do it for that long, but I'm saying is like, I didn't do what you're seeing as like typical like hatha yoga, like these flows that would just flow. It wasn't like that. It wouldn't even look like I'm doing yoga. I would just lay down on the ground and then throw the leg over, twist the body. And I found that actually that's where all of this releasing, there's the word, all this releasing was actually happening. All of this melting was actually happening where the body was becoming lighter. It was like the less I tried. And I looked at a lot of like the hatha yoga, it looked like there's a lot of effort in these flows. It looked like too fast. And it was simply just laying down on the ground and just like letting the body drape over to one side, or letting the arm dangle, or letting this leg dangle, or moving the hips, which then it probably didn't even look like an actual yoga pose. But it was actually those that seemed to be the most effective, because it was just, it allowed the body to relax more. And that's very similar to meditation, where we see people sit in the lotus position, think that you have to then sit in the lotus position. You say, well, my knees can't really do that. My hips are getting, then that's fine. Get in the most relaxing position for yourself. Because if you aren't relaxed, there's no way that you're going to be able to melt these emotions. There's no way that you're going to be able to dissolve these emotions. There's no way that you're going to relax these emotions. That's why relax is a good word. Melt is a good word. Dissolve is a good word. It's this feeling that there's something that you're aware of that's hard in you, and it's just softening. It's softening. It's softening. It's softening. It's as if the ice cube is what's hard, and the water, the lukewarm water, is soft. What you are is that softness, and it's just softening what appears to be hard. What appears to be rigid is the ice cube. What is fluid is the lukewarm water. You are the lukewarm water, and you're just simply allowing that ice cube to melt, to melt, to melt. And the ice cube is becoming more and more fluid until it completely melts. And then it's like, where'd the ice cube go? Everything feels fluid now. And like that, you can explore different areas of the body and just allow that rigidity to then transmute to fluidity. That doesn't sound like a word, but fluid. To be more fluid. You can allow that tightness to then transform to the relaxing. You can transform that heaviness into lightness. And that transformation is actually happening within you. You're simply putting the attention on the body, meeting the sensation. Now that you've met that sensation, relax into it. It always feels like it's just going a little deeper, like there's one more layer, going deeper, deeper. And as you go deeper, you'll feel something just melts, and it's like there's a new layer. And then that melts, and there's a new layer. And then that dissolves, and then there's a new layer. And that dissolves, and there's a new layer. And there gets to the point where there's nothing there. It's like an onion where there's actually no core to it. Peeling back the layers, but you're not actually physically peeling, right? The peeling requires the effort. It's just melting melting, melting. Like the ice cube. When the ice cube's melted, it's like, well, where did it go? It's gone. There's no trace of it. And just like that, there's no trace of that sensation. It's just, it's gone. It's like it was never there. You didn't actually pick it up and then try and release it. You didn't pick it up and try and get rid of it. It was simply melted within you. So it must be made of the same substrate as what you are. That ice cube must be made of the water. When the ice cube melts, there's no separation. There's nothing that the water then says, oh, well, this was remnants of the ice cube. Sure, the water might feel a little cooler, but even after that, it comes back to its set point. It comes back to the room temperature. So try it out if that's something that you might be feeling like, yeah, you know what? Once I got into this emotional stuff or these spiritual stuff, that maybe I might be having this misinterpretation. Just try a lot of times with the language. Sometimes it's just hearing something a different way. That we get caught up on the verbiage or the language that someone's using. And it's just a misinterpretation. It's just because we have a concept that we always are connecting the word release with, like, you're going to release something. You're going to release a bird back into the wild. You're going to release like something, and you're releasing it out there, outside of you. But these emotions, they're not released outside of you. There's nothing that is outside of you. There's nothing that's outside of you. So give that a shot. Relax, relax, relax. Melt, melt, melt. Dissolve, dissolve, dissolve. Try switching that language and see how your approach to these emotions change. You also might be noticing that, oh, okay, there's a pretty big importance here on the body. And maybe I'm just kind of trying to feel these emotions when I'm up here in the head. I'm just in my mind and I'm trying to think about my feelings instead of feel my feelings. Or maybe it might feel like I'm giving you something more practical, like get down on the ground. Get down on the ground. This video is getting long. When I was doing it, it would, like I said, I wouldn't think about doing any emotional work. That is like a surprise that kind of people do emotional work to me. That's how much when you're in the body, you're not coming up with these concepts of emotional work and it's time to feel my feelings. There's the experience that these feelings are very much in the body. And when your attention is on the body all the time, then you're very present to these feelings and you just are simply meeting them as you meet them by exploring the body, by moving the body. It's kind of like, oh, hey, what's that? Right? What's that? But when you're exclusively living in the mind, it's like you don't even know the body. You don't know those sensations. That's where the overthinking comes from. The overthinking is a result of underfeeling. As soon as you start feeling the body more, you start feeling those sensations, you start feeling the feelings more. You're no longer overthinking. And you become comfortable in the body. What do people usually say? Like, I'm not comfortable in my own skin. It's another way of saying that you're not comfortable with your body. That it's something that you're actually trying to avoid. And when you're attention is on the body, when your attention's on the breath, you find that you're way more present, because you can't breathe in the future and you can't breathe in the past. But you can definitely think about a future and you can think about the past. So by putting the attention on the body, putting the attention on the breath, and you can use that breath to help you relax even more. Slow down the breath. And when you're feeling these feelings, when you're feeling these sensations, see, they don't even have the word feelings. They don't appear to you as a feeling. It would just be like just a sensation, something that feels very raw. Then you can use the breath to then just relax. Breathe out, melt. Breathe in. As you breathe in, then you notice it's like there's a new layer. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And you go deeper and deeper. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, relax. As you relax, it sinks deeper. Breathe in, breathe out. As you breathe out, more melting. Breathe in, breathe out. As you breathe out, more dissolving. And like that, it's just layer after layer going deeper, deeper, deeper. There's more melting, melting, melting. There's more relaxing, relaxing, relaxing. It starts feeling more and more like you're surrounding this emotion, that you're coming from all angles. You are surrounding it. And it's melting, melting, and melting. And then what's left then is just this flowiness, this, I got to check to see if this is a word, this fluidity that's just left. And that's what was always there. There's just the awareness that was aware of the sensation. But actually that sensation is made of the awareness. And you know this for a fact because when that sensation disappears, all that's left is just the awareness. When the ice cube melts, all that's left is the water. Therefore, the ice cube must have been made of the water. There's no separation. So hopefully this helps. I'll see you in the next one.